Welcome to the Free Kick Podcast. My name is Todd. Well, how are you guys doing? I debated whether or not I wanted to record this episode right after this morning's game, because, the game ended at 1 o'clock this morning, and I was like, I could probably go, but I feel like halfway through the episode, you'd probably would have heard too many yawns, and I don't know, maybe I would have fell asleep on the mic and everything, so I was like, let's just record this episode when I'm awake, when you guys are awake, after that late night all of us had. But, we wouldn't change that for the world, right? That was just a crazy game, and I'm super excited to get into it and talk about it. And I just, there's just a lot to get into, and I'm still speechless, to be honest, with what we witnessed last night. I'm going to struggle probably at times finding words and everything, but, we'll get through it, and I'm sure that's how a lot of you guys felt last night after, seeing that crazy Jacob Glesnes goal, and Sergio Santos had a great goal himself and everything. But before we get into last night's game of LAFC versus the Philadelphia Union, let's go straight into the news. So I debated last episode or not if I should go ahead and re-record this next part that I'm about to tell you guys, which is Victor Wanyama has signed a 3-year deal with Montreal Impact. He leaves Tottenham Hotspurs in the Premier League on a free transfer. And I think this could be a very good signing for Montreal because he's a monster of a man. He's such a strong number 6, a strong holding midfielder, and he has a rocket on him. I don't know how many of you guys follow the Premier League, but if you do, how can you not remember that goal that he scored for Spurs against Liverpool on field? That was just an amazing of a shot, but it wasn't as good as our boy Glesnes' free kick last night, which we'll get to in a minute here. This is a good signing for Montreal, but the thing is, like I said, if you guys follow the Premier League, you guys probably remember that goal he scored for Tottenham against Liverpool. But then you also know that Spurs right now, they're desperate for a holding midfielder. And that's exactly what Wanyama is. So it's like, okay, why are they okay with him leaving on a free transfer? When they're so desperate for a holding midfielder, they had one on their team and everything, and now they just let him go on a free. Well, it's pretty simple in my opinion. His knees aren't what they used to be. Yeah, he's 28 years old and everything, but he's a guy who's seen a ton of time in the Premier League with Southampton, with Spurs. He's played for Celtic. I know he played for the Kenyan national team at a very young age. So there's a guy who, and like I said, is just very tall and physical and everything. And I'm sure, that takes a wear and tear on your knees and everything. So we'll see how he holds up in MLS and everything. I think this is going to be a good signing for the league where this guy's coming in his prime and everything. And if he can stay healthy, that's just going to expose the league even better, in my opinion. And, just hopefully when Montreal come to town and everything, Victor isn't going to be fit or he's not going to be what he once was and everything. Let's all hope for that. And the last bit of news I want to talk about is, if you guys watched the game last night, at halftime, they announced the U23 United States men's national team Olympic qualifiers roster. Brendan Aronson, Mark McKenzie, and Matt Freese all got called up. And Jonathan Tannenwald said sometime last night, he was like, I don't expect the Union to hold any of these guys back. I think they're all going to report on time. So that's going to be a huge blow for us when we go and play San Jose in our home opener, not to have Mark McKenzie or Brendan Aronson, but Jack Elliott, he'll come in, and I know this is one of the questions later on. By the way, thank you guys for sending a ton of questions and everything, so I got to make sure I leave time to answer all of you guys' questions the best I can. And so I won't get into too much of who's going to replace Brendan Aronson, who's going to replace Mark McKenzie right now, because, like I said, that was a question that one of you guys left me. So I'll answer that a little bit, but I'm just super proud of these 3 guys to get called up to the national team. Anytime you get to represent your country, I'm sure that's a great honor. And you got to take pride in that. And so respect to Jim Curtin, respect to Ernst Tanner for allowing these guys to go play for the national team, not to hold them back, because I'm sure it probably was a little bit difficult deciding whether or not to allow these guys to go or not, because Mark McKenzie and Brendan Aronson are going to be so crucial for us this season. And, Matt Freese is getting his game time for U2, the academy. And so, well, not the academy, but, our second team. So it's like, as much as we want these guys, it's just a great honor for these guys to go and represent the country and everything. And so I'm just super excited that Ernst and Jim both gave these three players a chance to go play for the national team. But speaking of Jim Curtin, I want to play last night's interview after the game of LAFC. And after Jim's interview, I'll give you guys my thoughts on, the game and everything. I'll break down the good, the bad, the ugly, all that jazz. And we'll just really dive into this episode. So here is Jim Curtin's interview from last night's game.
I think first you do have to speak about LAFC, the team that they are, relentless, play at the highest tempo in our league, put us under a lot of pressure for the 90 minutes. And again, the environment here is second to none. It's a really tough place to play. Having said that, incredibly proud of my players. They put in a great, actually 110 minutes with all the injury time. But, scored a lot of good goals. But if you start with Andre in the back, the saves that he made, the back line working together, Ali and Miro and Brendan kind of running the midfield. Jose has a great performance. You could go through each and every guy. Casper and Sergio really setting the line up front. So it's a kind of a win that can bring belief to a team. We played with the best team in MLS. Went toe-to-toe with them on a different night. Maybe we could steal a goal, but I think a draw was a fair result. But again, couldn't be more proud of the players for not only the work that they put in, but the soccer that they played. It's an exciting young team, and to look out on the field with the veterans closing things out, and to have 5 homegrown players out there on the field in this big of a game this early in the season is something that we're proud of as a club. Yeah. Casper, for me, is a top striker in MLS. He's one of my favorite players that I get to work with each and every day. Does so much running defensively for the team to set the line and press for us. And again, is certainly on a different night could have had 3 goals tonight. He was in and around the goal, made great runs, made good final passes. Just didn't go in for him tonight, but great striker. Can't say enough good things about Casper and what he brings to the team. Special striker and a great person as well. One that believes in what we're doing here in Philadelphia and is a guy that is going to score a lot of goals for us. Well, tonight we had a situation where we knew LAFC, with the high press that they have, they do leave their 2 center backs 1v1 with our strikers. So we left too high up. We played a lot of long balls, played direct through them, and tried to put them under pressure. I thought it was successful for the majority of the game. Obviously, LAFC is going to create chances, but overall we bent, but we didn't break. We really protected the middle of the field and forced them into crossing balls, and did a good job.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, spot on there, Jim. I agree with everything you said, and hopefully all of you guys agree as well. I think, not going to copy off of everything that Jim said, but from my perspective, I just think overall, we'll take the point. When I did my predictions at the beginning of the season, I said the Union would need to come away with 1 point, at least a point, on this road trip, and they did exactly that, just not in the game we all thought they would get a draw most likely in. Yeah, it sucks that they blew 3 leads in this game when they had plenty of chances to win this game. But at the same time, though, LAFC, they had a chance to win this game through Brian Rodriguez, who is just not looking confident at all for LAFC. And, last episode when I had Jerry Jimenez of Heart of LAFC, the podcast, I said LAFC, they need to be more clinical in front of the net. Yeah, they scored 3 goals against the Union, but they had their moments where they kicked the ball straight at Andre Blake, and hey, we'll take that, Carlos Vela got the ball on his left foot. I remember, I think it was sometime in the first half and everything, and Matt Real did a good job to keep him off balance and everything and really not connect that ball as good as Carlos probably would have liked and everything, and the ball winded up right in Andre's hands and everything. So, I mean, we'll take that. Diego Rossi, he just couldn't seem to figure out how to stay on side in this game, and which I said, we will take that. And that's a credit to our back line for communicating and just keeping a real tight line last night. Now, I want to get into the things that I thought were good, the bad, the ugly, and all that stuff. But how can I not start with this moment? I mean, this is a moment that, in my opinion, is going to be the goal of the season for MLS once the season ends and everything. So you guys obviously know I'm talking about the Jacob Glesnes goal. And anyway, here's that goal.
Looks like he's lining up for a shot here.
It's the center back, Jacob Glesnes.
He's going for it.
Oh, what a goal! Oh! What a goal! Jacob Glesnes! A Norwegian center back has just produced a moment that is going to go around the world.
Oh, my goodness.
What on earth have we just seen?
I mean, I said to you as he's lining up for this one, I said, he's shaping up for a shot here. The center back from 35 out. Look at that thing moving. Oh, my goodness. Phenomenal strike. And even Vermeer, I mean, Vermeer sees him coming. He takes a couple steps. That thing is swerving, and it is hit with venom.
Glesnes scored a worldie of a goal. The knuckle of that ball, it was just unbelievable. We were advertised, when we signed Glesnes from Norway, that he was a pretty good free kick taker. But my world, from 40 yards out, are you serious? Like, come on now. Like, I don't know how many of you guys, as soon as you saw that goal late at night, screamed and everything. I bit my tongue because I really wanted to just scream. I just couldn't believe it. And I honestly still cannot believe that. And I've probably watched that video at least 50 times now, and I'm sure you guys are the same way too. It's going to be a joke if Glesnes does not win goal of the week, let alone goal of the year. I'm calling it right now. Like, he honestly produced the goal of the year. I don't even care if a player scores a bicycle kick. I feel like the technique to score from 40 yards out is a lot more difficult than a bicycle kick. Yeah, bicycle kicks are really hard to pull off and everything. But the knuckle, the power, the curve, everything from 40 yards out. Welcome to the Jacob Glesnes show, everybody. I just cannot believe it. I honestly cannot believe he hit that. And I know in his interview after the game, he was like, talking to Jamiro, he's like, if they line up two on the wall, I'm having a shot. I'm taking this. And Jamiro was like, are you sure? He's like, absolutely, I'm taking this shot. And, that's like a once in a million goal from that far out and everything. But hey, we were wondering who's going to replace Haris Medunjanin as the free kick taker. And I think we got our guy. If Jacob can keep giving us service like that, I think we'll do just fine with replacing Haris on free kicks. And Glesnes, he could add a second goal in this game too. He hit the post with his header, and he was unlucky that he hit the header. I mean, in my opinion, this game came down to Glesnes, El Brujo, and Andre Blake as the MVP of this game, which I got to give it to Andre Blake. I mean, he put his body on the line. It looked like he might have suffered a concussion from Carlos Vela when he got kicked on the head, when he went off his line, got the ball, which how many times last season where Andre was so undecisive where we were like, oh, please, Andre, don't come out because you're just not timing this right. And pretty much Andre Blake did everything right last night. And it feels weird saying that because he allowed 3 goals, but you look at his save that he had on Rossi. You look at the save he had on Blessing. You look at the save he had on Vela. These are saves that Andre Blake would not make last season. And yes, he gave up 3 goals. I know I just said that. But without Andre Blake, we would not have won that game. Like I said, Brian Rodriguez had a chance to win this game for LAFC in the 97th minute. And Andre Blake, he came up big. He made himself as big as possible. He did not give Brian an angle to shoot at. And we came away with a point. I will take a point, even though we had to lead 3 times. Because I said it last podcast, LAFC is the best team in MLS. And for us to go into their house, into a intense atmosphere, and to go head-to-head with them all night, to go ahead and score the first goal of the game from a beautiful goal from Sergio Santos. I mean, he did so well to open up space for himself for that goal. His touch into open space, I know he didn't open himself into massive space, but he did enough where he was able to get an angle to curve that ball and beat the goalkeeper. Sergio Santos, people, is going to have a big season. For all the people out there that were saying, oh, I'm still not impressed with Sergio Santos. Oh, Sergio Santos didn't really impress me last season. This guy is very special. How many times did we see last night? Him chasing one to long balls and beating everybody. I remember one play where I think Casper played the ball and it was supposed to go to Aronson, it looked like. And Sergio Santos outran Aronson and outran two center backs to get to the ball. And yeah, it was bad service into the box. But to see Sergio Santos be the farthest away from where that ball was getting placed, who else has that top speed on this team? Not many players. And I know we started this game with a Jacob Lesnes long ball to Sergio Santos. He gets the ball, and I'm like, oh my gosh, the first 30 seconds of this game, we have a chance. Glesnes, his long balls, this is back-to-back weeks now that we've seen him play very, very exquisite long balls. And it's going to pay off one of these times, folks. It is definitely going to pay off one of these times, hopefully for the home opener against San Jose. Because with Mark McKenzie out, I fully expect Jack Elliott and Glesnes to be the center back pairing. I mean, who are you going to throw in there, Colin? Absolutely not. But last night, it was just so crazy. It really was so crazy last night. Matt Real, he held his own. His crossing was poor again, though, in my opinion. And I know this was another question, and I won't spend too much time on Matt Real versus Carlos Vela, but for the most part, he kept them quiet the whole night. And there was only one play where I can think Carlos Vela and Blessing got by Matt Real. I think that was in the 10th minute of the game. They play a ball to the far post. Luckily for us, nobody was there to attack it because it could have easily been 1-0 to LAFC. But hey, I mean, you can't change any missed opportunities. I mean, of course, everybody would love to have those missed opportunities back, but the game continued and everything. And so that's just four thoughts I pop off the top of my head right away. To get the bad things out of the way real quick, I'll just give my four bad moments in this game. Number one, I thought Casper's finishing kind of let him down on the night. He was in two very good positions, and he only put the ball on target once. He did a phenomenal job, though, pressing to win the ball back for Sergio's goal. So even though he didn't get a goal, even though he didn't get an assist, I thought Casper played well. And going off of the match rating by Who Scored, and they gave Casper a 7.25, and it's really good. That's a really good match rating for a player who didn't get an assist and for a player that didn't score a goal. And of course, strikers love to score. They love to get assists. They love to contribute some way. And that's exactly what Casper did. He contributed by winning the ball back. And so even though his finishing let him down and everything, for the most part, I thought Casper had a really good game. Number two, we just can't give away dangerous free kicks in dangerous areas, especially when a team has a player like Carlos Vela. Now, luckily for us, most teams in MLS don't have a player of Carlos Vela's quality, so we won't really pay for that, I feel like, for most teams. But, when you come up against the Atlantas, the LAFCs, the LA Galaxies, if you give away fouls in dangerous areas, more than likely they're going to make you pay, and that's exactly what Carlos Vela did. Other than that, Carlos Vela was really quiet, and that is a question, like I said, that somebody asked. I will get into that. I won't talk too much more on Carlos Vela having a quiet night. I thought number three, I honestly hate to blame referees, but Chris Penso, he had an absolutely poor night. He handed out 5 yellow cards on the night, 4 of which were to Union players. When you start handing out yellow cards this early in the match, you're really doing a good job killing off the game. Luckily, that didn't stop the Union from playing aggressive. That didn't stop them from playing their game, making LAFC uncomfortable. But that could have went really bad for the Union last night, just seeing Chris Penso give out yellow cards basically for whatever players making their first challenge and everything. And then I thought the whole yellow card to Ali Bedoya was BS. He gave the yellow card, I guess, for dissent. You've got to be stronger in situations like that. I mean, how many times in soccer do we see soccer players giving it to referees and the referees just walk away or tell the player to walk away without giving a yellow card? Penso was just really, really soft in that moment, and hopefully he learns from it. Luckily, it didn't, cost us and everything, because Ali put a couple strong challenges in last night that I think would have warranted a yellow card, but he was already on one due to getting that yellow card for dissent. And then my last thing that I thought was kind of a letdown was Jim Curtin's sub changes. for the speed of the game in the second half, well, throughout the whole game, really, I thought Michi Galina probably should have came on instead of El Seno. I thought Galina would have been up for the pace of the game because, like most of you guys said, can the Union keep up the pace for the whole 90 minutes of this game? And they kept up the speed of the game for the pretty much 75 minutes of the game. And, when El Seno came on, I thought he slowed down the Union's attacks and whatnot a little bit. And he didn't really get involved as much as we would hope. And the one thing I thought was interesting seeing El Seno come on, he didn't go and play as a winger. We didn't switch to the 4-2-3-1. They just put El Seno in as a striker. And we saw that against FC Dallas in the preseason, which El Seno got 2 goals and everything. So let's see, if this is a role where El Seno can thrive in with a partnership of Casper and El Seno, or Sergio and El Seno, or whoever Jim decides to sub off for El Seno. And I just thought that was interesting on the night. And I know if I was Jim Curtin, I wouldn't have made that change. And Jim was giving his interview saying, well, I know we're going to see El Seno soon. You guys are about to see El Seno. And then, bam, Brendan Aronson scores, which, by the way, Brendan Aronson, in my opinion, he had the best game in a Union shirt. He did well not to get pushed off the ball easily. So many times we saw that last season where Brendan had the ball and then somebody would push him off the ball, which, by the way, do you guys remember, I forget what player it was for LAFC, but they shoved Brendan. He didn't even have the ball, and I was like, where's the yellow card for that? I was like, you're giving the Union yellow cards for things that are a lot less worse than getting shoved when you don't even have the ball. And I guess the referee and his assistants didn't see it at all. But like I said, I don't like blaming referees. I thought Brendan, again, just his pressing was really, really good last night. He was able to get himself out of tight spaces. He looked really, really fast. He looked very comfortable on the ball. The agility that he showed was just unbelievable. I did not see this at all last season. And when you get to represent the national team, when you get called into the qualifiers for the U23, that's going to do great things for your confidence. And that's exactly what it looked like happened to Aronson last night. He was just playing as a guy with fire in his veins, and he looked like he wasn't going to be stopped. And I was super excited. And then, of course, when you score a goal, that's just going to do so much more things for your confidence. And his passing and everything, he was passing the ball where it needed to be passed to. He was passing it into space. He was splitting the defense. Brendan Aronson is another guy who could have won player of the game. But like I said, I think that was Andre Blake. I mean, just so many people impressed me in this game. El Brujo was another one. I loved his aggression. He was as fast as advertised from us when I had my friend Jordan Floyd on the podcast a month or so ago. He gave away one stupid challenge, which led to the goal, and then he turned the ball over early in the game. Other than that, he settled in really, really well, in my opinion. Yeah, you probably would have liked him to start the counterattack a little bit better. But for his first game, to get kicked in the face by a boot when you're on the ground, to be bloodied, to have to change your shirts 3 times. I forget who said this on Twitter, but El Brujo just looks like a Philly guy. To just leave it all on the line out there, it looked like Fontana was going to come in for El Brujo, but then Ali's calf, I guess, got tight or whatever. And by the way, I didn't see too many people talk about this on social media, so hopefully Ali Bedoya is okay for the home opener against San Jose, and hopefully they took him off for a precautionary measure, that they're just making sure that, that he just cramped up and everything, that there's no damage to the muscle and everything. For a player that's 32 years old, your body's not going to be what it once was when you were in your 20s and everything, so you're going to feel things a lot worse. Your body's going to break down a lot worse now that you're getting older and everything. So I thought it was the right decision for Ali to say, hey, look, I need a substitute. And El Brujo just gave us everything last night. And what a way to introduce yourself to all of us Philadelphia fans and everything. And again, another question, which I'll get to. I mean, you guys left me so many questions, which I'm so happy and thankful that you guys left me so many questions, and we will definitely get to all your guys' questions. Another thing, though, I mean, I have so many good things that stood out to me last night. I mean, Andre Blake is a guy who made 8 saves in the game. Like I said earlier, he looked like Andre Blake of old. Again, it is weird saying that he was MVP because he allowed 3 goals, but without him making those 8 saves, we easily could have lost this match. But at the same time, if we would have been more clinical finishing our chances, we could have scored 5 goals against LAFC. I don't feel bad talking about this and trying not to pick on you, Jerry, but you said you felt more confident this season with your defense than you did last season. And to see your team give up 3 goals at home where you guys rarely gave up goals, I don't know. I think if I'm an LAFC supporter, I'd be pretty terrified of my defense, and especially goalkeeping too. I mean, I think the goalie could have done a little bit better on Sergio Santos' goal, but when you read it late, it's not going to be good news for the goalkeeper. But my last bit of thing, because again, and there is, like I said, a lot of stuff to get to, and I don't want to make this episode go longer than really what it has to go, because I know you guys' time's valuable and everything, and you guys have other podcasts to listen to, and you guys have stuff to get going in your own personal lives and everything. So I always appreciate when you guys take time out of your day to listen to the podcast and just let me ramble and give my thoughts and everything. And, at times probably don't even make sense because I'm going from one area to the next, and you're like, okay, we were just right here, and now we're here. Like, you're losing track of us. But again, there's a nice little ramble right there. But it honestly doesn't matter to me on paper that LAFC look to have the better players, because majority of the game, the Union were winning every single 50-50 ball. They were forcing turnovers. They were playing with high intensity. Their aggression was top-notch. It doesn't matter to me if the team has better players. It really doesn't. Whatever team shows up, plays with passion, plays with determination, they're more than likely going to win that match. That's the type of players I want on my team. That's the type of players I will cheer on from the start of the game to the end of the game. And like I said, for the majority of the game, the Union just showed that they wanted it more. We have these type of players that will give it their all. And if this game against LAFC doesn't prove it to you, if you think we're in for a tough season, then I don't know what your issue is. I really don't know what your issue is. These guys care about the club. They care about their fans. They care about leaving it all on the line. This is a team that I am so happy to cheer on. And this is a team that makes me proud to be a Philadelphia Union fan. This team is going to be so special. I hope you guys realize that. This team is going places. Now, whether or not they win MLS Cup, I don't know. But if they play like they did against LAFC minus giving up the 3 goals, people are going to struggle playing against the Union. Now, I know, playing this high press, playing with this intensity for the whole season, it's a lot to ask. But it is doable because we have options on the bench. We have players who I feel confident with. Kai Wagner out. Look at Matt Real. He is doing a good job. He has done a good job the last 2 games. Like I said earlier, minus the crosses. Our defense played so well tonight, or last night. Our midfield played so well. LAFC did not look comfortable. They had majority of the ball, but they could not handle the intensity, the aggression that the Union were giving them for 75 minutes of this game. I love this team, and I hope you guys love this team just as much as I do. And finally, the partnership between Casper and Santos, it was so good. I loved, like I said earlier, the long balls that Sergio were getting all night. He'd pick his head up, look for Casper, look for Ali in the box. His speed is going to be a difference maker for us. I hope you guys bring the energy for the home opener at Subaru Park, March 14th, because this is a team that deserves us to cheer from the beginning to the end. I don't care if you sit in the river end. I don't care where you sit in the stadium. Make noise. Be loud. Think of that New York Red Bulls playoff game last season at home, where the whole stadium was doing chants, where that game was as loud as Subaru Park has ever been, if not the loudest it's been. Let's make that game into the kind of atmosphere we have for every single home game this season. It looks like it's going to be good weather for the home opener. There's no excuses for people not to come out because we have a special team. I've said it now 3, 4, 5, 7 times. I don't know. But these guys are truly special, and I hope you guys realize that. Now, I did this last week, get my thoughts on social media and everything. Again, I guess I'll make this a weekly thing. You know, I was just pleasantly surprised that so many Union fans stayed up to watch this game. We lost an hour of sleep. The game didn't start until 11 p.m. But sure enough, there are a lot of you guys active on Twitter. A lot of you guys saying you were watching the game, giving your play-by-plays. I was giving my play-by-plays, which I did not expect to give, but yet here we were. I really didn't see any negative comments on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. Well, I lied. I actually did, but I'm not going to mention those people, because I think majority of the people on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook were happy. We're happy with the result. We're happy with the way the team played. I know I was happy. And the one thing I saw, which isn't a Union thing, was some idiot on Fox Sports Facebook page say, "Oh, this happens every week in Europe. The goalkeeper was trash and allowed Glesnes' free kick to go in." No, this doesn't happen every week in Europe, because if this happened every week on Europe, it would be blowing up on social media every single week. So, no, don't trash MLS, man, just because it's MLS. That's a free kick nobody is going to save. I don't care what goalkeeper it is in the world. It can be Neuer, it could be Oblak, it could be David De Gea. None of those guys are saving Glesnes' free kick that he scored last night. But I think slowly but surely, MLS is heading in the right direction. I think they're turning heads. And again, we're not going to impress every single Euro snob. But you're getting fans like me, where I used to hate MLS, but in 2017, I said it at the first podcast I recorded for you guys. Decided to give MLS a chance. And in those 3 years, man, has MLS changed a lot for the better. And so, yeah, props to you guys on Union social media for not being negative. So let's see if we can be positive going into week 3, and hopefully we get a good result against San Jose. But I want to go into my blunder of the week. So my blunder of the week is going to go to Manchester City goalkeeper Ederson. United tried a long ball to Daniel James, but Ederson, he was able to collect the ball calmly. Ederson attempted to throw the ball out to Benjamin Mendy to start the counterattack. Well, he overthrows Benjamin Mendy. The ball falls to Manchester United Scott McTominay, who shoots the ball from about 40 yards out, and he scored to put Manchester United up 2-0 against Manchester City in the derby.
Down the line towards James, but straight to Ederson. But straight to McTominay, who's going to have a shot. Oh, it's 2-0! Scott McTominay seals the points in the Manchester derby. Presented with the chance by Ederson. He made absolutely no mistake from distance. It hasn't been Ederson's finest day. It has been his as manager of Manchester United. Ollie's all smiles. He's at the wheel. United are 3 points off the top 4. They lead City by 2-0.
I mean, that makes me so happy being a huge Manchester United supporter. That's the first time Manchester United have done the league double over Manchester City since the 2009-2010 season. Ole is 3 wins, 2 losses against Pep Guardiola. Manchester United have 17 points versus the top 6 this season. The only team that has more points is Liverpool. They have 19 against the top 6. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time talking about the Premier League and everything. This is not a Premier League podcast. If I wanted to talk Premier League, I would still be doing a Premier League podcast. But I do believe Ole is the right man for the job at United. All of his signings have been top class for United. They've all came in, had that mentality, we want to play for the badge. So I'm just hoping Ed Woodward, who is Manchester United's CEO, will back Ole in the summer, where Ole can keep bringing in the players that he believes have that Manchester United DNA. And yesterday was just a great sporting event for me, with Manchester United beating Manchester City, with the Union getting a draw, with the Maryland's men basketball team winning the Big Ten championship. Super excited yesterday for a great sporting day. But I will go ahead and get into some social media questions. Hopefully I didn't keep you guys too long. I try not to go too over, and my apologies again if I went over too long. But starting off with the first question, it comes from @Tony Nicolati. Who steps in with Aronson and McKenzie away for the Olympic qualifiers? Elliott is the easy replacement for Mark, but do you think we'll see Elsinho or Fontana as Brendan's replacement? So, I mean, you already answered one part of the question right there, Anthony. it is Jack Elliott. He's obviously going to come in for Mark McKenzie. But the thing that I think a lot of people are probably going to be surprised by, this is something, I was thinking about during the game. I was like, who's going to replace Brendan Aronson? Well, I know you're going to slide Jameer Montero up top in the number 10 role. That's fine and everything. But the question becomes, like you said, well, maybe El Seno. We know El Seno can't play a full game. He can only go 30 minutes. So El Seno is not going to start as the number 10. We're not going to switch the formation up to go to a 4-3-1. Nothing like that. So that leaves Fontana. I think he could play on the opposite side of Ali Bedoya and play where Jameer mostly plays in the 8. But honestly, I wouldn't be surprised, guys, if we see El Brujo play on the left side of the diamond, and if we see Matej Udvarz play as the holding 6, which comes to a huge surprise to you guys, I know, because Anthony Fontana got talked about a whole bunch by Jim Curtin, but the 2 games that Fontana came in as a sub, he really hasn't impressed me, and I know what does that say about Matej to not even travel with the team for the last 2 games. So I just think this is a San Jose team who's coming in here who have lost the last 2 games. I think this would just be a good game to try to see what we have in Matej Udvarz at home in front of our supporters and everything. So I think we'll see Montero in the 10, Bedoya and El Brujo in the 2-8 spots, and then as the holding 6, I think it's going to be Udvarz. Now, again, I would not be shocked if El Brujo is the 6 and if Fontana is to the left side of the diamond, but I just have a sneaky suspicion that we're going to see Udvarz this weekend at home starting. The next question comes from @Devin6159, a.k.a. producer Devin from Sons of Ben, the pod. Hope I did that right, you guys. Don't kill me. Who starts as the number 6 on Saturday? So, again, going back to Anthony's question, I think it's going to be Udvarz. I just had the sneaky suspicion. I think it's the perfect game to let him test the waters against MLS opposition. San Jose, like I said, got blown out the last 2 games. Did not look good at home. So why not try him at home? Let's see if he can be that player to start our counterattacks when we're looking to start a counterattack. And I don't know. I could be wrong, but I just have a feeling it's going to be Matej starting in the number 6. @PhillyFans6771. Is it just me, or did Vela have a quiet night? No, it is not you. It is not you at all. Matt Real did a phenomenal job. There was 2 moments where LAFC probably should have scored a goal, but throughout the night, Matt Real held his own. And now that I'm thinking back to it, last season, Carlos Vela was pretty quiet against us too. We had him in check when they were in town playing us in Chester at Subaru Park. So I don't know what it is. It's like, yeah, he scored 2 goals against us, the free kick, and then he scored a goal from open play at home. But other than that, it's like we did a pretty good job containing Carlos Vela, because how many times have we seen him last season score 2-3 goals against a team and everything and just really dominate a team where a team could not shut him down effectively? Well, Matt Real just did a phenomenal job last night against Carlos Vela, in my opinion. @Thomas19064, he says, what's a guy got to do to get a charter flight around here? Man, that's a good question, Mike. But honestly, I don't think the Union wanted to use him up so early in the season. If you look at the last 10 games for the season, the Union are away 5-6 times, I believe it is. So I got to imagine we're at the end of the schedule where they're going to be away more than they are home. I got to imagine that that's when they use the charter flights, not this early in the season. Now, of course, it's going to be an issue because Jay Sugarman doesn't like using charter flights. If he doesn't have to spend money, he's not going to spend it. But now that it's mandatory in the CBA where teams have to use a minimum of 8, then we'll probably see it near the end of the season. That's my guess. I'm not really surprised that they didn't use it against LAFC. But, hey, it didn't cost us. So not complaining. We got a point. @UnionNut26, he says, is Glesnes goal the all-time best goal for the Union? At the very least, it's the best one scored by a center back for the team. The other goal, I gotta imagine you're talking about Justin is Carlos Ruiz's goal against Chicago Fire. Honestly, you guys have been Union fans longer than I, and I'm sure a lot of you guys were at that game and everything when he scored that goal. But I think that was pretty terrible goalkeeping. I think the goalkeeper could have done a better job at trying to save that shot by Carlos. But I'm not trying to take away. I mean, that was a phenomenal strike by Carlos for the goalkeeper basically being on his line, and Carlos still found the back of the net, basically chipped the goalkeeper. But I think Glesnes had the best goal in Union history. From 40 yards out, that knuckle, not many players are going to be able to hit it. And so I do think Glesnes' goal is number one, and I do think Carlos' goal is number two. But, I can see the argument for flip-flopping those two goals. At Moo Cow Pup, she asked, did Martinez earn his place as the D-Med? Again, kind of alluding to the first two questions. Yes, I do think he earned his place. Will he play as the defensive midfielder against San Jose? I do not believe he will. I think he will play on the left side of the diamond. Again, like I said, I think Woodvots will start as the number 6. And the final question comes from Nathan Dole 2. How do we prevent counterattacks like that? It's a great question, and I'll give you my best Jim Curtin answer. The intensity of the game was just so high, where it was constant back and forth, and I think a point was fair for both teams. Now, I feel like that's something Jim Curtin would say, but how do you prevent it? Well, it's pretty simple. Most teams in the league are on LAFC, so they're not going to hit us on the counter like that, so I'm not too worried about it. I was happy with the intensity that we showed last night. I was happy that we were able to go toe-to-toe for them because I expected us to get blown out 3-1. I did get the 3 goals right for LAFC. I just did not get the 3 goals right for the Union, and I do not mind being wrong, guys. I honestly do not mind being wrong at all. But thank you guys so much for the questions. 7 questions, a lot of questions to get to, but keep them coming, everybody. Don't be afraid to leave a question, and I will do my best to give you guys my answer. But if you guys haven't already, follow us on social media at Free Kick Pod on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. You can find the Free Kick Podcast website by going to thefreekickpodcast.com. You can find us wherever you get your podcast, on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, by just searching The Free Kick or The Free Kick, Todd Lewis, and you'll be able to find it that way. I did a lot more talking than what I thought I was going to do, and I hope you guys were okay with that, but I think it was definitely warranted with that crazy game that we saw last night, and I just hope you guys have a good week. I will see you guys, I think, for a San Jose preview. I think I don't have anybody that's a San Jose fan coming on here, so I don't know if you guys want to hear me give a BS prediction for San Jose or not. But if I don't give an episode by Thursday, then I will see you guys at the home opener. Because with that said, my name is Todd, and this is the Free Kick Podcast.